motion in your steps.
Motivation in your heart.
Hello, and welcome to today's Motion and Motivation podcast.
Ever feel like, like your business finances are kind of like a roller coaster, up and down and all over the place?
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Nope.
So many entrepreneurs I talk to feel the same way. And that's why today we're doing a deep dive into Mike Mikhailovich's Profit First.
A good one.
To see if his, kind of unconventional approach to business finance, could help you, the listener, take control.
Yeah, Mikhailovich, he really shakes things up. I mean, he ditches like all those complex accounting formulas and stuff and just focuses on behavior change.
Right.
Which can be like a total game changer for entrepreneurs, I think.
It's so true. Instead of getting lost in spreadsheets, he offers this more relatable system,
Yeah.
What really resonated with me, I don't know about you, was this whole survival trap concept. He argues that so many entrepreneurs, they chase revenue and growth and all that, but they end up creating these businesses that are like cash-eating monsters, always needing more, more, more.
It's true. It's like that story in the book about Ernie, the lawn guy, right?
Right.
He starts with leaves, then he adds gutters to his services, and then it's roof repairs. Suddenly he spreads so thin, working so hard, but not necessarily seeing the profits.
And that's the thing. Working harder, but not making more money. Not seeing that bottom line grow.
Yeah.
It's a trap so many of us fall into, and that's where Profit First comes in.
It's true.
Mikhailovich wants us to flip the script on how we view profit.
Right. Traditional accounting often focuses on sales expenses equal to profit, but as you know, that can leave you with nothing left over.
Yeah.
Mikhailovich wants us to shift to sales, profit, expenses. It's a total mind shift.
It's make sure you pay yourself first, right?
Exactly.
But how do we actually make that happen when we're so used to doing things the old way?
It's all about, new habits, systems.
Okay.
And that's where his 4 core principles come in, which I'm happy to dive into.
Yeah, let's do it.
Think of it like healthy eating. Instead of those oversized plates overflowing with food, we use smaller plates.
Portion control.
Exactly. Portion control for our money. But instead of plates, we're talking about bank accounts.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Rather than one big account for everything, Profit First suggests dividing your money into dedicated accounts.
Separate accounts.
Separate accounts. One for profit, one for owner's compensation, one for taxes, and one for operating expenses.
Okay, so no more where did all my money go at the end of the month?
Right.
I can see how that would be really helpful for people.
And because those accounts are separate, it removes that temptation to dip into your profit account for some unnecessary expense.
It's like that story of Peter Laughter. He literally made his bank manager make his profit account super hard to access.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
No online access, no debit card, just pure profit preservation.
Exactly. And, it makes you think, what if you did that? Could you? Could making your profit a little less accessible, would that help?
That's such a good question.
It's a powerful example of how behavior change can really make a difference.
So Profit First is about setting up systems that actually work with our natural tendencies instead of against them, right?
I think so.
But what about the numbers themselves? How much money are we talking about actually putting into each account?
So that's where those 4 core principles we mentioned really come into play.
Yeah.
And the first one is, all about prioritizing profit. Taking a percentage of every deposit and putting it right into your profit account before you pay anything else.
Even if you have debt.
Especially if you have debt. Mikhailovich argues that allocating even a small percentage to profit, even just 1%, can make a huge difference in shifting your mindset.
It's proof to yourself. Hey, my business I saw is profitable.
Right, exactly.
Even if it's just a little bit at first. I like that.
Yeah.
But okay, so we've got these separate bank accounts, right?
Okay.
How do we know what percentage to actually put in each one? How much goes where?
That's where those other principles come in. So the second one, removing temptation, that's those separate accounts, which we talked about. But then there's instant assessment, and that helps you figure out where your money's actually going.
Okay, so no more fuzzy math.
No more fuzzy math.
We're hoping for the best.
Right. You got to look at your revenue and expenses over the last year, calculate what percentage actually went to profit, owner's compensation, taxes, all that.
So you get a clear picture.
You see it.
Of your current reality.
Your financial reality. This is where you're at.
Okay. But then how do I know where it should be going?
So Mikhailovich has these things, he calls them target allocation percentages, or TTAPs.
Taps.
Yeah, it's catchier.
It is catchy.
And they're benchmarks. They're based on your revenue range. So like, let's say your business brings in, I don't know, between $250,000 and $500,000 a year. He suggests shoot for a 5% profit allocation. At least.
So as my business grows, that target for profit, that goes up too.
Yeah. The idea is you gradually increase that profit allocation as you become more profitable. But obviously, not so much that you can't cover your other expenses.
Right. You need that balance.
Exactly. Finding that sweet spot. And then fourth principle, we got to mention that.
Oh, yeah. What was number 4 again?
It's to, check in. Regularly assess and adjust those allocations.
So I'm not just setting it and forgetting it.
No, this is ongoing. Because I would suggest like every quarter.
Every 3 months, I'm checking in.
Check in. See how those actual percentages are lining up with your targets.
Make adjustments as needed.
Gotcha. Exactly. It's fine-tuning. Got to make sure that system is like optimized.
Optimized for profitability.
There you go. See? You've got it.
This is good stuff. Okay, but what about debt? Because like that's a big one. A lot of entrepreneurs, especially when they're first starting out, they're dealing with debt.
For sure. Yeah. And Michalowicz, he doesn't shy away from that. He's got this whole approach. He calls it the debt freeze.
Debt freeze. That sounds kind of intense.
It's a little bit, yeah.
What does that actually look like in practice?
It's about like a mindset shift. You stop taking on new debt, first of all.
Okay, so that's step 1.
Step 1. And then you focus all your energy on paying down that existing debt fast as you can. Makes
sense, but how does that work if I'm also trying to prioritize profit?
Yeah, it seems a little counterintuitive.
Right.
But he encourages both. You know that story of Pete?
I think so.
He owed the bank like $1 million.
Oh, yeah, I remember that story.
That's a lot of debt. He felt stuck, understandably.
$1 million, I feel stuck too.
But Michalowicz told him, prioritize profit. Tackle that debt.
Okay, but how? How did he do both?
It started with, like, cutting back. Identifying and eliminating those unnecessary expenses.
Oh, so like maybe renegotiating with suppliers or like getting rid of subscriptions you don't use.
All of that. Even like, could you find a more affordable workspace? Anything.
That's a good point.
And you know what else he talked about? That print and mark exercise.
Yes, where you like print out your bank statements. I love that.
Old school.
It is, but it's so helpful. You actually see it.
You see where it's going. It's powerful.
So you categorize every expense and you really see where your money's going.
And once you've done that, trim the fat, then you can attack that debt strategically.
Didn't he mention Dave Ramsey's debt snowball method?
He did, yeah. For people who haven't heard of that, maybe we should explain it.
Yeah, good idea. So the debt snowball method, it's all about paying off your smallest debts first.
Smallest first.
Regardless of the interest rate.
Doesn't matter about the interest rate.
So even if I've got like a credit card with a higher interest rate, I should pay off my smallest debt first.
That's the idea, yeah.
Interesting. I can see how that would be motivating, knocking out those smaller ones.
That's about momentum.
Yeah, that feeling of like, I did it.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're prioritizing profit, we're tackling debt strategically, but then Michalowicz also talks about this idea of like finding hidden money within your business. Okay, how does that work? Where is this hidden money?
Well, when you start, really prioritizing that profit, you naturally become more aware
of your spending.
Yeah, you're thinking about it more, and you start looking for ways to be more efficient.
So it's like necessity is the mother of invention.
There you go.
When you have to find a way, you do.
Right. You've got that set amount allocated to profit, so you're like, okay, how do I make this work?
Makes sense.
I get creative.
It's like that story about the Vistage dinner.
Oh, yeah. I love that story.
Where he challenged those business leaders to like double their results, but with half the effort.
Those impossible questions. He's good at those.
So good.
But sometimes that's all it takes, right?
Like a new way of thinking.
A new perspective.
Thinking outside the box.
Challenge the status quo a little bit.
And you find those places where you can be more efficient.
Exactly. And, he even gave that example of the UPS driver.
Oh, yeah, with his keys.
Hangs his keys on his pinky finger just to save, a few seconds on each delivery.
It's brilliant, though.
Right? It might seem small.
But adds up.
But you multiply those seconds over thousands of deliveries, and it's real time and money.
Okay, so we've talked about this for business, but can you apply this profit-first thinking to your personal life, too?
Absolutely. He talks about that in the book.
Okay, so how would that work?
It's the same principle, setting up those separate accounts, but for your personal income this time.
Gotcha.
So you've got your profit account, but that's for savings now. Owner's comp is your take-home pay. Then you've got taxes and operating expenses for, daily spending.
So I'm like my own little business.
Exactly. You're the CEO of you.
I like that. I'm the CEO of me. Instead of just letting my money control me, I'm making these conscious choices about where it goes.
You're in control.
It's powerful stuff. It almost feels like more than just like a financial strategy.
Right.
It's a whole philosophy.
You've got it. It's about aligning your money with your values, with your priorities.
What's important to you.
Exactly. And understanding that profit, it's not a bad thing. It's not greedy.
Yeah, it gets a bad rap.
It's fuel. It lets you do what you love, support your family, all of that.
And as entrepreneurs, that profit lets us, keep doing what we love, keep innovating, keep making a difference. So as we wrap up this deep dive on Profit First, what's your biggest takeaway? What really stood out to you?
Honestly, I think it's the simplicity of it. It's not about these complicated formulas. It's about changing your behavior, your habits. It's something anyone can do.
I love that because it's not just about, making more money. It's about that peace of mind, having a system, knowing where you're at and where you're going.
And feeling in control.
Exactly. And who doesn't want to feel more in control of their finances, right? So if you're ready to ditch that financial roller coaster, Profit First might be the roadmap you're looking for. And on that note, here's a final thought for our listeners as you go about your week. Even companies as big as, let's say, Twitter, they face these profitability challenges. So no matter how big or small your business is, there's always something to learn from Profit First. Until next time, keep those profits flowing.